Today I'm over at our rented farm getting ready to put out some grazing fence. I'm transitioning this place from irrigated hay production to rotational grazing. If you've seen these videos before, I showed pictures of my cows grazing standing forage here this past winter. I've been studying a lot lately about using rotational grazing to improve soil health. I was reminded of a conversation I had with a PCC producer from Australia a few years ago. We were talking over the fence at a bull work day in Cheyenne Wells. He told me that he and his wife care for 2,800 head of cows in a rotational grazing system. He has another 2,500 cows that are cared for by a couple of retired bachelors working part-time at another location. He could tell I was blown away by the thought of 4 people managing over 5,000 head of cows. He said, "We never touch them until shipping day." I asked, "What happens if the calves get scours?" He said, "Oh, we don't have scours. We have healthy soil." I gotta go home now. I hear my mommy calling. So fast forward 3 years and I'm on my own with a small herd of PCC cows. My wife and I are working on improving the soil health through rotational grazing. I admit I still don't know much, but I can make some observations about the progress so far. This 30 acres was hayed once. The regrowth was grazed last fall while it was still green. It looks good now, and that's where we'll begin grazing. There's another 30 acres that had 2 cuttings of hay taken off and was grazed last fall. It's slow to start growing and probably looks the poorest of anything on the farm. This little patch has not been cut for 6 years. The landlord used it for bird hunting, so we stockpiled it. He went hunting, and then we grazed it off each winter. It's interesting that it's always the first to green up in the spring. Right now it's growing and looks dark green and healthy. I've noticed another thing too, that this was the favorite place for the elk to graze every night. It leads me to believe that there was a difference in the quality of forage here. Compared to the other fields where the dry tops were wasted, this patch was picked clean. Most of the farm was left untouched for winter grazing. My PCC cows strip grazed it through the winter and maintained good body condition. The part I grazed too close is green, but slower to take off. The best grass on the farm is where the cows, quote unquote, wasted a lot of dry feed as the quality decreased towards spring. There's more growth and more soil moisture on this part of the field. It's always been a struggle for me to leave feed behind, but it was obviously the right thing to do. As far as calf scours, I didn't see any this year until the cows went to a sacrifice pasture where they were eating right down on the ground. Imagine that. Another lesson learned. The last observation is this. I would have never considered trying something new without being challenged to think outside the box. Kip Fayroe and the PCC network challenged me to think differently about my genetics and my soil health. I'm excited about implementing a new plan. The bottom line is this. Sometimes the truth hurts, but that's what it takes to get our attention. I don't have it all figured out, and the neighbors probably think I'm crazy, but I'm moving ahead. It just goes to show you're never too old to learn.